The medical bay hummed with alien technology, its bioluminescent panels casting an ethereal blue glow across Susan's motionless form. She lay suspended in a regeneration pod, her body encased in a translucent membrane that pulsed with healing energy. Around her, 7 towering figures stood in a perfect circle. The Predator Council, apex species from across the Galactic Union, each representing a hunter race that had dominated their respective worlds for millennia. Lucas paced outside the observation window, his hands clenched into fists. 3 days had passed since the incident on Kepler 442b. 3 days since Susan had done the impossible. The human liaison officer had been warned repeatedly about the Velkari cubs. Stay away. Let them play. Their parents are the most dangerous assassins in the known galaxy. But Susan had never been good at following warnings when children were involved. Inside the council chamber, Thrazakor, the towering Velkari patriarch, stepped closer to the pod. His obsidian scales caught the light, creating patterns that spoke of countless battles. His 4 amber eyes fixed on the human female who had somehow survived what should have been certain death. "Explain it again," rumbled Kesavara, the reptilian Sarkoth representative, her forked tongue tasting the air. How did she move that fast? The holographic replay materialized above the pod for the 10th time. The footage showed Susan in the Kepler settlement's common area, reviewing terraforming data on her tablet. In the background, 3 Velkari cubs, each no larger than a human, toddler but already showing the predatory grace of their species, tumbled and played near the fusion generator, housing. What happened next occurred in less than 3 seconds. Maintenance drone malfunctioned, its containment field rupturing. Superheated plasma vented directly toward the cubs, followed by a cascade of razor-sharp metal fragments traveling at supersonic speeds. The settlement's safety protocols would activate in 2.7 seconds. Fast by any standard, but not fast enough. Susan moved in 0.4 seconds. The council watched as the human woman dropped her tablet, her body already in motion before her conscious mind could have possibly processed the danger. She crossed 12 meters in a blur, her arms outstretched. She grabbed 2 cubs with her hands and used her body to shield the third, twisting in midair to take the full force of the shrapnel blast across her back and shoulders. The footage showed 23 pieces of superheated metal piercing her body. The largest fragment, a jagged shard of durasteel, entered just below her left shoulder blade and exited through her collarbone. She should have died instantly. Instead, Susan had wrapped herself around the cubs, holding them protected against her chest even as she collapsed. The safety protocols activated, emergency teams arrived, and Susan had whispered to the terrified cubs in their own clicking language, words of comfort she'd apparently learned in secret, before losing consciousness. "Impossible," hissed Velkoth, the insectoid Crickstar Queen, her mandibles clicking in agitation. "No species moves that fast without cybernetic enhancement. We scanned her. She is baseline human." "Baseline human is apparently more than we understood," said Thrazakor quietly, his massive clawed hand pressed against the pod's surface. "My cubs, my children. She saved them without hesitation, without calculation of cost." Lucas finally entered the chamber, his diplomatic credentials granting him access. "May I speak?" The Predator Council turned their attention to him. 7 apex predators focusing on a single human. Lesser species would have fled. Lucas stood his ground. "You want to understand what Susan did," he said. "You've studied humans for 3 years since first contact, but you've only seen us in controlled environments, in negotiations, in carefully managed scenarios. You haven't seen what we really are." "Enlighten us," said Kesavara, her vertical pupils narrowing. Lucas gestured to the holographic display. "You call yourselves predators. Your species evolved as hunters, as apex killers. You're faster, stronger, more naturally armed than humans. But you know what humans are?" He paused. "We're persisters. We're survivors. And most importantly, we're protectors." He pulled up data on his own tablet, projecting it into the shared space. "Humans evolved as persistence hunters, yes, but also as communal caretakers. We're the only species that regularly risks death to save the young of other species. We adopt orphaned animals. We run into burning buildings. We throw ourselves in front of traffic to save strangers' children." "That's not survival logic," said Velkoth. "No," Lucas agreed. "It's not. It's human logic." Susan didn't calculate odds or consider survival probability. She saw children in danger and her body reacted. Adrenaline increased her strength by 40%. Time dilation in her perception made 2.7 seconds feel like 10. Pain suppression allowed her to function through injuries that should have incapacitated her. And pure, stubborn human willpower kept her conscious long enough to comfort your cubs. Thrustcore, because she knew they'd be frightened. The council was silent. You want to know the really terrifying part? Lucas continued. Susan isn't special. She's not enhanced, not trained for combat, not selected for physical excellence. She's a xenobotanist who likes gardening and classical music. But she's human, and humans have a deeply ingrained response. Protect the young. Any young, regardless of species. Thrazkor's claws retracted slowly. My people kill to protect our young. We die to protect them. But to risk death for another species' offspring? Welcome to humanity, Lucas said softly. The regeneration pod chimed. Susan's eyes fluttered open, immediately focusing on the towering figures surrounding her. For a moment, fear flickered across her face, a natural response to being surrounded by apex predators. Then her expression cleared. The cubs, she whispered, her voice hoarse. Are they? Safe, Thrazkor said, his deep voice gentle in a way Lucas had never heard before. Because of you, all three are completely unharmed. Susan smiled and closed her eyes again. Good, that's good. The Velkari patriarch looked at Lucas, then at the other council members. When he spoke, his words carried the weight of ancient authority. The Predator Council has debated humanity's petition for 3 years. We questioned whether your species belonged among us, whether you were truly capable of standing alongside apex races. His 4 eyes fixed on Susan. This human female has answered that question. She bears the scars of a warrior and the heart of a guardian. Kesavara stepped forward. Humanity is soft, weak in claw and fang. But this one showed us something we had forgotten, that the fiercest predators are not always those who hunt, but those who protect. One by one, the council members placed their hands, claws, or appendages on the regeneration pod, a gesture of respect reserved for honored warriors among their species. Lucas felt his throat tighten with emotion. Does this mean humanity is recognized as the 8th predator species of the Galactic Union? Thrazkor declared. Not because you are apex hunters, but because you are apex protectors. And in this galaxy of threats, we need protectors as much as we need warriors. Inside the pod, Susan slept peacefully, unaware that she had just changed the fate of her entire species. 3 small Velkari cubs pressed their faces against the observation window outside, their parents standing behind them, teaching them to remember the human who had shown them what true courage looked like. Human courage. The kind that doesn't calculate odds or weigh consequences. The kind that simply sees danger and runs toward it, because someone needs saving. The kind that makes apex predators stop and reconsider what strength really means.